guys, we're Scott and Amy Thompson of Thompson Essentials. We're so glad that you took the time to turn in today. Today we're going to be talking about chiropractic. So I'm just going to have Dr. Scott come on and he's going to start speaking.
Thank you, Amy. This episode, guys, is a little different, change of location. And what we wanted to tell you more than anything is that everything that the channel represents, Thompson Essentials, of course, whether we're talking about magnesium, talking about exercise, talking about prayer, meditation, whatever it is, if we don't have proper nerve supply, it's very difficult for any supplementation to benefit your body, right? So you're only as healthy as your body can take in nutrition and utilize. So today we want to talk and show you guys what should a reputable chiropractic office look like, what kind of to expect, what type of things would you experience to remove some of, if you've never been to a chiropractor, obviously this is a great introduction. If you have been to some, we want to kind of piggyback on that and show you what we feel like that a chiropractic office should represent with almost 26 years of experience. And today Amy's going to be a patient and I'm just going to be me. And we're going to explain to you, show to you what should happen as far as what would my first day look like, maybe even go over some x-rays and talk to you about that. We're going to lead you through the process of what that experience is, right? So from there, Amy, I'm going to be a patient, and there's a point on our first visit with a new patient that we get to a place in our office with these charts here to help educate a person, right? So most people feel like that the really only reason I would ever go to a chiropractor is kind of like the only reason would take some people, the only reason they might take their car to any type of service, and that is because it had a major collision and it needs a collision center.
Right.
Unfortunately, some people only engage in the healthcare system when they need an ambulance at 2 a.m. and they think they might be having a heart attack. That is great that we had that service, but that is just doing that is not nearly what we need, right? We need to take care of our car, we need to maintain oil, we need to change oil, we need to rotate our tires, we need to do brake inspections. We should do the same thing with ourselves. Think about from dentistry to exercise and fitness. If it's not on some type of schedule, some type of rhythm, some type of rhyme and reason to it, then we're just kind of here there, right? So there's like pain center, so to speak, type stuff, just like a collision center with your car. And then there's what we do here, try to get folks on a maintenance type schedule so that your body can function at its utmost, because God designed you to heal, right? And it provided you have proper neurology, brain, spinal cord, nervous system controls everything. I don't care if it's your hormones, I don't care if it's your immune system, your respiratory system, whatever system it is, when your body's trying to function, it's got to have proper neurology. And there's a term we're going to discuss with you today that's very, very crucial to your body working at its utmost, right? So, Amy, we just came from an exam room. At this point, there's a brand new patient. She was brought here by staff. To this point, I came here to meet her after I've looked at her x-rays. And now I'm going to explain to her the findings of that. And then we'll also go and look at her actual x-rays and explain to her what is there. And basically, if I do what I need to do in teaching her right here, she can look at her own x-ray and understand what she sees is wrong versus what it should be, right? Above and beyond symptomatic things, right? So Amy, I'm so glad you came to the office today.
Yeah.
Those x-rays, thank God we've taken those x-rays, because you're not doomed, but we do have some things we need to work on. If we don't work on those, they're probably going to get worse over time, right? So,
Oh, goodness.
before we look at those though, I wanted to show you something. To give you an example, if you look right here, God put wisdom in your brain to tell your body how to function, right? And for example, if we follow this spine down to this nerve and it goes to lungs, right? If we were to take a knife and isolate this nerve from brain to lung, and we cut that nerve completely in two, so your brain and your lungs couldn't talk to each other at all whatsoever, what do you think happened?
Well, I can breathe.
Of course, right? So if our respiratory system is completely unplugged, so to speak, from our power source, then your lungs would shut down. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything is wrong with your lungs. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need an inhaler or whatever the case may be. What it does mean is that if your brain can't tell your body what to do, any part of your body, then your body would shut down in that area. Does that make sense?
Wow. Yes.
Right.
That makes complete sense.
Now, you might be thinking, I don't have a nerve cut completely in two. What are you talking about, Scott? Well, my point is, first off, to impress upon you how important neurology is. And if we're disconnected, it's just like if you unplugged your curling iron and you wanted to go back and you saw a piece of hair and you wanted to use it, but it wasn't plugged in, so it's no longer warm. It's not connected to the power source. That is kind of the way this is. Okay. Now, you don't have a nerve cut, as we said, but what if that same nerve that goes to lungs, we come over here, and you guys might not be able to see as well, but this nerve here is necrotic. It's getting more and more, there's pressure on it. So this bone is out of alignment in accordance to the bone below it, and it's putting choking pressure on that nerve, right? It's also putting unnatural stress to the disc and to the joint space itself, right?
Okay, that explains why I'm hurting so much.
Particularly where that nerve might be going. Now, in our example, if that nerve is going to our lungs, it's not cut into, so we don't have immediate death to the lungs. But if we have choking pressure on that nerve, and a lot of times it's so mild that people don't even know they have it. They're symptom-free, right? And that explains why, well, why don't I go to the chiropractor if I have no problems? How do you have heart disease and have no problems? And then wind up finding out you have a heart problem by a heart attack. Similarly, with progressive time of pressure on that nervous system area, it's going to affect how well your lungs would function. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So instead of, if you cut the nerve completely in two and that person's lungs shut down, that person might develop asthma as a problem down the road. Or maybe they might wind up with bronchitis 5-6 times a year. They just keep bronchial stuff all the time. They're just weak in their lungs.
That makes complete sense.
Because your brain can't talk to your lungs efficiently, right? That's what a subluxation does. And if that concept seems to make sense, that adds up. Well, imagine what if it was somewhere else? What if the subluxation was here going to an 11-year-old's bladder, might have bedwetting? Or maybe it's going to a person's prostate. They might have prostate issues. Maybe even the C word. Might even have, if a nerve goes here, to a lady's ovaries. They could have recurrent cyst problems with ovaries. They could have endometriosis. Someone else might have digestive disturbances, which goes back into Thompson Essentials, guys, on the channel. That if I'm trying to take my multivitamin, but I don't really know that it's really helping me, if I have a subluxation creating problems with the nervous system to my digestive system, and I can't really break down and absorb, basically that organ can't function the way it's supposed to because of neurology, you see. Neurology is king, guys. It's more important than anything else. Now, though, if I remove that nervous system issue, that subluxation, when I am taking supplements, my body can break them down and I can use them.
So my nerves actually send life into my organs.
They do. So brain is trying to communicate to your body through your nervous system. It also could give you acid reflux. It also could cause pancreatic problems, insulin, diabetes. Another person, your baby may have ear infections, because ask any mother who's ever had a baby, is the birth process stressful? Yeah. When's the last time you had something dilated 10 centimeters, buddy? No, not interested, right? But when that happens, there's a lot of pressure on the baby's spine and mom, and just getting here is traumatic, as all of us were born, right? That can cause a subluxation, that can cause nerve interference, and as time goes on, it just gets worse, and worse, and that baby could experience ear infections, or they could experience colic, or maybe asthma, or maybe I've got numbness and tingling in my arm, and I also have blood pressure trouble. Hold on, Scott. You're gonna crack someone's back and you're gonna cure blood pressure. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that God put wisdom in your brain to run your body, and your nervous system is critical in delivering that information to every system and every muscle and every tissue of your body. Now, here's something else that people confuse sometimes, Amy. Sometimes they'll have pain around their shoulder and they'll think, I came in, but I'm not really sure this is where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I need a massage. Maybe I need physical therapy. Maybe I thought about, my husband told me I should just go to the doctor and get an injection, and that's all I needed to do, and I'll be fine. Well, what I want to tell you about that is this. If you have a neurologic problem causing a muscle issue, your muscle's fine, you didn't damage it, you didn't tear it, you didn't fall. A lot of times we hear that, well, you've got a pulled muscle, take this medication, you'll be fine. Right. But nothing, you didn't really do anything. You weren't active at that time, you didn't fall, you weren't playing softball, whatever. The point is, you don't have a muscle issue. Your problem is not your problem, right? And what I mean by that is, our symptom, what we think is our problem, and I don't care if it's a condition, if it's asthma, if it's diabetes, whatever it is, that is a symptom of your problem. It's not the cause. But we medicate it, and we call that healthcare over the course of years, not even our entire life. But back to our muscle, that muscle has improper nerve supply, and it is responding to that. Now, I'm not saying physical therapy never helps. Our son had a massive car wreck. Physical therapy helped him. He broke bones in his hands. I've had knee surgery playing football. There's all kinds of situations where it's fantastic. And it even could help, could assist. It could assist and help this. But again, you don't have a muscle problem typically. And Amy, in your case, because I just looked at your x-rays, you have a subluxation choking the nerves that go to this region, and it's no wonder you have pain there.
Wow.
Right? Now again, you could use those other things for temporary relief, and they're so much better, massage, than taking something, because that hurts your kidney, hurts your liver. So you're better off. using those things for temporary relief, but we have to correct the neurology. And back to our joint space. Remember we mentioned a while ago that the joint itself and the disc itself, right? If you ever heard anybody say that I was told I had a bulging disc and my regular doctor said I need an MRI, I know I'm like 70% better and I've only seen you for 3 or 4 times, but I'm just going to wait because my regular doctor told me I needed to get an MRI, not go to the chiropractor. Well, first off, that makes no sense, especially if you're having improvement.
Okay.
Obviously, we're on the right track.
Right.
But secondly, unfortunately, folks get told this. You have a bulging disc, you can't go to the chiropractor. Friend, look at it this way. If that disc was a tire on a car and your car was out of alignment, like your spine's out of alignment, and you kept using it every day throughout the stuff you have to do every day, what is going to happen to those tires?
Well, I'm going to have a blowout.
They're going to wear it regularly and it can blow out, right? So your disc will have extra stress on it, and that's why it's bulging in the first place.
Okay.
Outside of acute trauma, that could be the case, but most folks that come see us, it's something over time and it's escalated, right? Because the subluxation was there and they're chewing away on that disc inappropriately, can't move right, and it's causing stress to it and it bulges.
Right.
The bone is harder than the disc and eventually the bone will win, right? So when that happens, if you don't correct the misalignment, then your disc just gets worse, right? And it can herniate. Step further, those folks get better here too. Sometimes they get worse. It's a hard place. And then even get worse, can rupture. And then unfortunately, we're having surgery.
Oh, I don't want surgery.
No. And also, people that have surgery, many times they're not better, they're worse. And that's not me digging on the surgeons. We have some fantastic surgeons in our area, and there's great ones all over. But the point is, when someone gets that bad, it is very difficult to help them. Right. So what do? We try to stay away from getting that bad, right? We want to work on. Yes, we want to work on maintaining our body just like we'd maintain our car.
Okay.
When will you stop brushing your teeth? I'm not going to. Right. Same thing is true with your spine and your nervous system. And now that you have an idea of how far-reaching the integrity of your nervous system is and how it can affect every single aspect of your body, muscle, organ function, hormone release, everything is controlled by nervous system function.
Okay.
And that chiropractic is not just a pain relief thing. It's not a type of aspirin, basically. We want to make sure that we correct the subluxations and then maintain that correction for the rest of our life. Why would we stop, right? Not only that, Amy, I ask you this question. Who do you think would be better off not having choking nerve pressure in their spine?
No one needs that. Like, everyone could benefit.
Exactly. That's why we see children. That's why we see people after surgery. That's why we see people that have rods or screws or plates in their spine. We see 100-year-old patients. We see active football players, everybody in between. Now, the application is different depending on the situation, because I've almost 26 years. I've never seen 2 patients that were exactly the same and their adjustment was actually exactly the same. But everyone needs to be adjusted. Just like if you have teeth, you need a toothbrush, right?
Well, I would really like to get my kids in here and get them checked. Little Johnny, he has a lot of stomach issues. He would be very embarrassed if I told you that. He has a lot of constipation issues. Do you think you could help him? Well, it depends on what we find in his exam. And if we needed an x-ray in that exam, we'd take that. And depending on what that showed us there, that would help us determine, like, do we or can we or can we not help him? Because there could be some issues above and beyond that. Right? That might be causing part of his problem. Well, absolutely. I'm going to get my kids in here. Sweet. That's awesome. Get them checked. Absolutely. Having them evaluated is fantastic. Yes, for sure. Say, well, we'll go look at your x-rays. Now that you have an idea, I'm sorry, got ahead of myself, I apologize. I want you to look at this when you get there. When we look at your x-rays straight on, we want to see your spine is straight, right? We'd love to see your head is even, not shifted. We'd love to see your shoulders are even, not off like this. Your pelvis is not reached around. We want to see your spine straight. Now, from a side view, we would love to see a good 45-degree arc right there. We call that the arc of life because that's where your brainstem comes down, right? And I need my brain working. Yes, absolutely. And then we have a curve here and a curve here and a curve here, but they can't be over accentuated. And we don't want to see our ear out in front of our shoulder, our neck is straight, or even, God forbid, reversed. Okay. The more this we see, that means the more damage. Like an older person, like older people. You would think so. But in today's times, I've been doing this a long time. I remember when the internet wasn't in the palm of our hand. Now we have middle school children. That's right, Amy. Sometimes we think like that's an older person, but it's even in middle school age children and sometimes even younger because we look at so many tablets and so many phones. We hear so much. It destroys the cervical curve. The kids are like that all day long. Like whenever they're not doing schoolwork or baseball or football or whatever, my kids are literally looking down like at their phones.
Yeah, we all are, unfortunately, anymore. We all are. We're either driving, sitting at a desk, looking at a laptop, looking at a tablet, looking at a phone. We spend so much time in this position, which further pushes the idea that, hey, we need to have chiropractic care in our lives regularly on a schedule forever, right?
Yeah, I can see that now.
Now,
Like,
sadly, I have a lot of folks that they wind up, it's almost like a gym, right? New Year's resolution, January, I'll sign up. And come June, after that January, I haven't even been back since paperwork change. It didn't change, right? So if we use chiropractic in that way, it's very difficult to correct the things that we're discussing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, again, back to the Thompson Essentials portion, it's very difficult for any supplementation to benefit you because you likely have organ system issues and absorption issues because you have subluxations and nerve issues. Your body can't function at its utmost.
So this is more important than taking all of my supplements. Even.
Absolutely. All the supplements are very, very important. But if you don't have the ability through neurology to utilize them, we're just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot.
Right. I'll be wasting my money.
Right. Okay, guys. Amy, I'm so glad we finally get a chance to look at your x-rays after we just learned exactly kind of what we're trying to correct, right? The subluxation out of alignment causing pressure on the disc, on the joint space, and on the nerve. And depending on where that nerve goes, it could affect you in a multitude of ways. You know, we talked about you have some pain in here, and yes, it can be causing that, but it also could be affecting your lungs and you not even be aware of it, because that's what those nerves go to also in that region. And some of the headaches you've been having, you may see and hear yourself like, I wonder if that's related. Okay, so we're going to look now. We're looking right now, though, which I don't remember you complaining anything at all pretty much about your lower back. This picture right here we're looking at, we're standing behind you looking straight through your lower spine, right? What do you see?
It's really crooked. Like,
yes, so right here we'd love to see our spine straight and our pelvis is even, right? But right here, which you guys on the channel, you probably can't tell from your vantage point, but the pelvis is rotated. Your left side is really low. That's putting a lot of pressure on your sacroiliac joint, and that can cause a lot of issues there. It can affect organs in that area like digestion, reproductive system, bladder function. It also can affect, of course, muscles in that region. And some of those nerves, they wind up going all the way down your legs into your feet, which isn't that odd that symptomatically you don't really have any symptoms there, not that you reported to me, but you also have this drastic curve here in your lumbar spine, right? So we want to see that straight as can be. Nobody ever mentioned this to you in your whole life?
No one. I've never known about this.
Right. And this is the reason, not every single time with every single person, but this is the reason that an x-ray helps us a lot, guys. So right now, she's either one of two things. She's gotten used to a certain measure of pain, which sounds kind of like, how does that even happen? But you'd be surprised how folks and you people at home sometimes can even get used to a certain feeling. It's always with you wherever you go. So at times, you just kind of, I hate to say it, but you just get used to it, live with it. Or you take a lot of NSAID drugs or covering it up and just going on, right? You realize, you think to yourself, well, what can I do? There's nothing else really I can do. Well, if you can get a proper evaluation, there very well could be a correction for you, right? So we'll get a little farther up. Now, in time and repetition, with a mapped out plan of care, we'd love to see this improve, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think would happen if we did nothing? 2 years from now, 5 years from now, what do you think what would happen?
I mean, it could get worse.
Correct. You know, it's unfortunate, but yes, if you don't do work on correcting it, it's just going to get worse. And again, it's just like our car that needs some maintenance that we put off. And now that tire might explode, give us a flat, cause us to wreck. Now, not only are our bodies at injury, but the entire car now just got damaged, not just a tire. So maintenance and even in this case, correcting makes a big difference. So we'll go farther up between our shoulders here now, looking straight through. We're standing right behind you.
Right.
What do you see on this x-ray?
Ooh, that's really crooked.
Yes, and remember, at our other location in the office, when we were talking about the charts and describing everything, we mentioned we want to see our heads even, we want to see our shoulders are even, we want to see our pelvis is even. We do not want to see things all over the place. Looking straight on, we want to see you straight. And if that's what we're looking for, we have work to do, right?
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of work to be done.
And unfortunately, it's sometimes folks like, hey, I just wanted to get cracked a couple of times. I mean, this happens to me periodically. I just need the spasm to go away. That spasm it's like smoke telling you something's wrong. It's a symptom telling you something is wrong somewhere. And unbeknownst to Amy, she even has a little bit of a scoliotic curve going on in her lumbar spine one way, and then back between her shoulders goes back the other way. This can affect her breathing. These nerves through here, they control upper GI, so she can have acid reflux, kidney area, pancreas, spleen, those areas are right through there. Have a lot of into it, gallbladder, right? That's what those nerves in that mid-epigastric area go to. So not only could it give you symptoms of muscular issues and pain, it can affect the function of those organs as well.
Ooh,
and again,
that.
going back to where we mentioned Thompson Essentials in our products and supplementation is all great, but our body has to work at 100% so we can break down and absorb and utilize those nutrients that we're taking in, right?
Correct. Yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you mentioned that you had some headaches that you suffer with.
Oh, I have at least 3 or 4 headaches every week.
Yeah. Realize that might be normal for you, but it is not normal.
Well, I just usually carry my, Motrin and Tylenol in my purse, and if I have one, I'll take it, but only as needed.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to make, what if, let me ask you this, what if there was a way to correct the cause of you having headaches? Would you be interested in that?
Well, yeah.
So here's the center of our ear, right? From a side view, we would love to see our ear and our shoulder lined up. Remember we talked about and we'd love to see a good curve in our neck, like this normal x-ray right here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
When we look at this normal and we look at you, and there's the center of our ear where our cursor is at on our computer, what do you see?
Wow. Mine is like not going in the right direction.
Correct. We have what we call anterior head carriage, which basically means your ear is out in front of your shoulder. We're a little hyperkyphotic, which means our mid-back is over-accentuated, rounded, and it's thrown our head out in front of us.
Oh my goodness.
And our neck has gotten really, really straight.
I don't want to look like that.
So as we look on our chart, from normal, we have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Stage 4, we cannot help. And praise God, that is not you today,
Yes,
right?
thank goodness.
But let me ask you, currently, we're at stage 2, which is not a good place, but it's helpable. In that regard, it is good. But we obviously, if we do nothing, 2 years, 5 years from now, as time goes on, what do you think will happen? Will you be better or worse?
Well, not better.
No.
It'd probably be worse.
Absolutely. There's no reason to believe that it would improve, right? Otherwise, it would have done it already. So now that we've digressed and we're reversed, we lost our curve, we're straight, we kept going. Now our spine is reversed. Now we're starting to have disc damage. We're starting to have arthritis develop. We're starting to have bone spurs develop because remember, we mentioned if we have a bone and a disc and another bone and our spine's out of alignment,
right?
And we're still working and doing life, we're chewing away on that joint space, on that disc, on that nerve. And whatever that nerve goes to, remember we mentioned, what if it's going down my leg? Well, I can have sciatic symptoms. If it's going in my arm, I can have numbness. But also, if it's going to my baby's ears, they can experience ear infections. If it's going to another person's digestive system, they could have IBS. They can have constipation. It just depends on the part of the nervous system that's affected.
Okay.
In this case, this reversal is causing unnatural stress to the disc. And as we'll go on to stage 3, you see even thinner disc spaces, more arthritis, and then in stage 4. If you get to stage 4, unfortunately, we cannot help you, right? And that's where you wind up at an orthopedic office. And
no, I do not want
we
that.
don't want that to happen.
No.
The good news is this area is helpable and it's correctable. It can be. So is that something you think you want to do?
Absolutely.
Right. So remember earlier we mentioned that we want to work our way back as close as we can to normal, right? We don't want to say that, hey, if you just map out this plan and follow this schedule, that you'll have a perfect x-ray one day, a post x-ray later.
That's what I would want.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome. But I don't like to overpromise and then underdeliver. You have a lot of stress. You've needed this kind of care for years. And yes, you can and you will improve if you follow steps. But to say we'll have a perfect x-ray, I wouldn't want to tell you that. But one thing, and I don't give me any guarantees, but I will give you this one. If we do next to nothing, or I see you today and I don't see you for 6 months, I see you 2 or 3 times, I don't see you for a year and a half.
Right.
That kind of spottedness of our care, that's like using our toothbrush in that manner. That's like taking care of our car that way. That's like going to the gym and workouts that infrequent. Then, that's going to affect our results. Right?
Well, and if I put braces on my kids' teeth and took them off in a month, that's not going to do them any good.
Correct. You're not going to have a whole lot of progress there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Totally. So as we keep progressing, it gets worse, but we also, if we do nothing, that's the caveat here, is that if we work at it with a schedule, you will start to improve, but you're like, when I get around to it, right now I'm real busy, I can't get here, I can't make my appointments. Unfortunately, we hear that sometimes. But as you do that, you're slowly progressing and getting worse and worse and can get to a point where it's
Well, I want to take care of me so I can better take care of my children.
That is a very good point, Amy. And that's what a lot of moms, a lot of people in general, they put their self off time, etc., because they're taking care of someone else, and that's great, that's awesome. But if you let your health go, and that's the whole point of the channel, is to give you guys power and incorporate you, that you are your best health advocate, right? So we want you to realize that my health is up to me as a person. If I'm going to get up, like we talked about in prior episodes, walking in worship, spend some time with the Lord, spend some time getting some exercise, even if it's walking. You don't feel like you've got to run 10 miles every morning, right? Walking is good. So the point is, the more we realize that my health it's my responsibility and nobody's going to do it for me. It'd be awesome if they could, but we need to do it for ourselves, right? So we hope you guys really enjoyed this portion of the chiropractic and neurology of the channel. We got one more place we're going to go and take it to another screen and show you and share with you a couple of stories that are very near and dear to my heart of, things that aren't not been, but unfortunately they are. I'm going to share some family stories with you.
Hey, can I get adjusted now?
Absolutely. Okay, guys, glad you guys are back with us for this segment. Of course, we just went over the area where we were talking with Amy as if she was a patient, explaining to her what can happen to your health and how nervous system and neurology is very, very important. Then, of course, we went over x-rays, as you just saw. Now, we want to give you guys why Thompson Essentials. What's the major reason that the channel was birthed in the first place? What exactly is the entire point? And there's some pictures behind us. My dad, just here behind Amy, I grew up on a peanut farm, as most of you probably have already heard that. You watched any episodes before. And this one picture is him as a grown man and farmer, standing on a big trailer full of peanuts. And there's another one that is probably a little glare. The picture is really, really old. And him as a young child, as a baby. And the point is, my dad died of mantle cell lymphoma, which is a very rare form of cancer. And the reason that this channel exists, and what I want to point out to you about talking about him, is that in the farming area that we live and commercial farming, there's a lot of chemicals. There's a lot of herbicides. There's a lot of things going on that are not good for you. There's a lot of things in the environment all around that's not good for you. It can get into water systems. It can get into a lot of things. But the point is, if you could look in a dictionary and find a picture of someone who made very poor health decisions, unfortunately, that would be my father, right? Best dad ever, heavyweight champion of fathers.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't trade him for no one. He's a fantastic man. But when it comes to taking care of himself, anything you could think of, he did it backwards.
He took care of everyone else.
He's always taking care of everyone else. If 14 hours a day, working hard, he smokes, he did not take care of himself, plenty of junk food, beyond the worst American diet you could think of, chemicals all over him all the time. There's a certain chemical, not to be mentioned, but during the summertime, he and my grandfather, they farmed forever, their whole life, would have bright yellow hands from the chemicals they were handling. They would cause your hands to turn yellow. Look like you took a highlighter and just highlighted all over your hands. That was every summer for as long as I can remember, right, from a child on. That led to, that particular cancer he had, mantle cell lymphoma, is almost 100% of the time seen in farming communities because of what I'm explaining to you, right? So obviously that's terrible. His life was cut short.
They just weren't aware. So we started this channel with, we want to go and impact people's lives so that you don't go down and make some of the wrong choices our family has.
Right.
Because my kids are now missing out on having their grandpa at different events, at weddings and graduations and all the things. I don't mean to get emotional, but I say those things because they were unaware because of the times that they grew up in. They were just not told. For one, the companies that produce these things did not warn them and did not give them the warnings. So that, if they would have known, then they would have maybe did things differently. But this really touches home to us. Toxicities is serious, guys. Don't ignore toxicities in the environment, in your lifestyles and things like that. So when we started this channel, this was birthed to actually empower you to look into the things that are toxic for your family, because we don't want you and your family to have to go through what we went through with him and losing at such a young life. So that is just really, our heart is to actually to go and to change with the research and teach it and preach it.
Yes. So everything we've learned over all these years, guys, we want to share that with you. Mm-hmm. Now there's another picture just over my shoulder. That's my sister, Laura. Laura, that's a wedding picture, her and my mother. And of course, that's her at her birthday right there. And that's my dad behind her. But the story with Laura is she sadly, unfortunately, also died with a rare form of cancer. And yeah, she was 9 years older than me.
Younger than you are right now.
Yes, younger than I am right now. And Laura was like a second mother. There was such an age gap that when we get home from school, we were small children, my brother and I. So there's me, my brother's 2 years older than me, then my sister Laura was there, 9 years older than that. And that being said, she was at home doing things, taking care of the home. When mom was still at work, we'd get home earlier, of course, school-aged children. And she did not think twice about spanking your butt. I mean, like I said, we grew up on a peanut farm in the South. Spankings happen right in our neck of the woods, right? And you did what she said, or you wish you had, right? So, but yeah, for a long time after she had passed, I thought that I was good. And I came across an old voicemail in my phone, and I listened to it. Oh, I'm gonna listen to that. And that was a mistake. It almost wrecked, while I was driving, I almost wrecked the vehicle. I had to pull over. I turned into a sobbing mess all over again. But guys, these are the reasons that people's life cut short. You know, they could have made a whole lot of different decisions throughout their life that I have zero doubt would have benefited them. What would the actual outcomes have been? Obviously, we'll never know. But one thing's for sure, if you put bad gas in your car will not run as efficiently as it's supposed to. Guys, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. That's what the Bible tells us. And how we should respect it. Don't, you know, if you, and I don't mean this the way it might land, but be respectful of your Creator. You know, honor God with your body. You can't fulfill what God has for you in this earth, expanding His kingdom. You can't walk out the calling on your life God has placed if you allow your temple to deteriorate by making poor decisions. You know, if we don't know something, that's one thing, and that's probably the essence of this channel. You know, and the essence of some teachings that we'll do, which leads us to another point in a minute, is we have some in-house classes that we are doing called Health Revival, right? Why do you call it the Health Revival? Because to revive something means to restore it back to life, right? And that's what we want to do for you guys and for ourselves and anyone within hearing of our message, is that do everything you possibly can to maintain your health and to have your body be resilient so that you can perform what God has had you here on this earth for, right? So you can reach people for Him, right? For Him and for His kingdom.
If I'm sick in the hospital bed, literally that's taking time out of my years where I can go and fulfill the purpose God has for me. So literally, it's so critical that we steward and just be a good steward with our health and with everything in our on this health journey. So,
yes. And guys, and another thing about the Health Revival, make sure I don't miss it. Amy will have this particular week, which if you guys are local and you can do it, praise the Lord, you're welcome.
It's October 30th.
Right. So October the 28th is physically in here, and we're going to try, it might be live, might not, we're not completely sure there. We got to make sure that all the participants, you know, they could be shots of them here, there, into it. Make sure that it's okay with people that are physically there. But also, we also could let you guys know this, is that Amy will do a Health Revival prayer call 2 days after on October the 30th. That starts at 6:30. That will be by way of internet-based.
Right.
You'll be able to log in. Yes. Probably be a Google type meet thing, but we'll figure that out as it goes, and you guys can be notified. There'll be some ways to see about it and hear about it in the description, right? So that's October 30th at 6:30 Central Time, and we're on Central Time here, so whatever time that applies to you guys. But yeah, so that's Health Revival prayer call, right? That's something we'll try to do probably about every month.
Yes, once a month.
Yes.
And it will always follow our Health Revival class here at the office. So Dr. Scott's going to be doing his Health Revival class. And so like we just did one this past week, our next one will be coming up on October, the 28th, like he was saying. And so each month when we have these classes, we're going to be talking about just different things that you can do as far as toxicities, nutrition, sauna, grounding, renewing your mind with God's word. Of course, that's number one. And then just really tuning into all the different avenues of tools that we actually are so blessed to have, to be able to use to help promote health within.
So, and October 28th will be on nutrition and supplementation, and the prayer call will be right after that. Like she said, 2 days later, 6:30 Central Time. That is October 30th, right? So 28th and 30th.
Right.
And they're both same time, Central Time, 6:30.
Right.
Right. And we might do that one live as well. Like you said, the 28th.
Right.
Probably will.
Right.
Yep.
So, but we look forward to it. It's going to be so exciting. We're so glad that y'all are here with us on this health journey. And we look forward to the next Health Revival here at the office. So see you on October the 28th. Hope you can join us. If you can't join us live in person, we'll hopefully get this video uploaded before then.
Yeah.
And we will get you out there watching us online on Thompson Essentials.
And October 30th, again,
And October 30th.
6:30, the Health Revival Prayer Call.
Yeah, the Health Revival Prayer Call is going to be super, super awesome. I'm super excited to join in with people that have prayer needs like myself. Like we're all on this journey together. So I feel it's super important. Number one, in your health and healing, it is prayer. So, renewing your mind with God's word and just really getting in your prayer closet. And sometimes we need that link arms with other people. Yeah. So I'm going to use this group time so that we can link arms all together and just really see some revival in our health across this country. This country needs a health revival. I've been seeing this for probably 10 years, and just the Lord has really had it on my heart, especially since we went through obvious losses in our own family. I just really see that, like, whatever we can do to just like empower someone else on their health journey, like if we don't share it with you, then, I feel responsible. Like, I feel like that's what we should be doing. So join us for that next health revival, and it'll be on nutrition and supplementation.
Yes.
And speaking of supplementation, specific supplementation, we'll talk about also functional medicine labs and how awesome that is as far as telling you
the importance of your lab work. And also there's an interest we've been getting notified from different folks, like, what about, is there like a baseline thing that most everybody, 99% of people should be taking? There is. And we want to discuss that as well. Right. So there'll be different supplements that we'll talk about that pretty much everyone should take, every man, woman, and child. Right. We're going to discuss that as well. And talk about different amounts and how to figure out how much to take, the quality, where from. Of course, Thompson Essentials, we're heavily on that.
Yeah.
Because we really, really tweak our quality control. We stay on top of the companies that we utilize. And
everybody might not want to dive that deep. You may not want to do functional medicine. And like Dr. Scott was saying, it's super critical to know how much, these vitamins and supplements, how much you actually need.
I mean, just yesterday I was talking with a patient, and they were discussing a supplement with me, and they were taking probably about, 1/8 or 1/10 of the amount of what they needed of the supplement. So in essence, it really wasn't helping them, wasn't doing them any good. So
you're talking about the guy with leg cramps, and he had muscle spasms all the time, and he was
way too little magnesium to help him. Yeah. And then there's so many different types of magnesium, but let's stop here. We don't want to get over the rat chase that. So we'll talk about that on the 28th.
On the 28th, October 28th. So we look forward to seeing you guys on our October 28th
Health Revival.
Health Revival.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in this episode. We look forward to seeing you again on the next episode.